The place, the Gulf of Mexico. The date, April 20th, 2010. An explosion at an oil rig miles away from the coast leads to the worst environmental disaster in the history of the world. Except, of course, for the destruction of the dinosaurs, for which they will surely soon find retribution. Many were quick to blame this catastrophe on the rig's owner, BP. But here at Mysterious History, we have learned to examine every little detail in order to emerge with a more accurate truth. Being the seasoned investigator that I am, I immediately felt something fishy about this case. Something was wrong. It felt too simple. BP is, of course, the obvious culprit. But what if BP was not responsible for this terrible disaster? What if, in fact, it had been carefully planned centuries ago by an ancient civilization? What kind of people would do such a thing? And more importantly, how? I am Dr. Ismail Apikores. Join me as I journey through time to find the answers on Mysterious History HD. We begin our search in a museum exhibit in Argos, Greece. The museum in Argos, Greece showcases many species who have become nature's victims, perished in natural disaster. From the beginning, I had a suspicion that the ancient Greeks were somehow involved, so I flew down to Greece to find some answers. While our access to actual ancient ruins has become somewhat limited in the past few months, we may find that the answers we require have been put on display to the public in this museum. We searched the museum for any hints that the ancient Greeks may have had prior knowledge of an oil rig in the Gulf, or more importantly, had made plans to blow one up. Much of our search, however, was fruitless. We have searched the majority of the museum, but so far we have failed to come up with evidence that the Greeks knew about the Transocean rig, or even the existence of the Gulf of Mexico. However, I knew that my crew and I needed to remain vigilant, one of the most important traits of a good investigator, and eventually we struck gold. Yeah, come here. Look at this panel over here, the one in the middle with the fish. So, if you look clearly, we have a body of water, because there's fish floating on the bottom. We have a body of water like an ocean or a lake, and we have a structure rising out from the top of the surface of the water, like a building or a mountain or something. There's a pipeline running to the middle, like it's bringing something up from the water. And now we have an explosion on top. There's fire everywhere. It's a bright explosion. The fish are being thrown out of the water. It's a catastrophe. And it was all imagined beforehand. The 1,000-year-old depiction contained inscriptions indicating a great building amidst a sea of water, and then a crashing explosion. Undeniable proof that the Greeks had been behind this entire event. But why? And more importantly, how? We still had many questions to answer. While we don't quite know all the facts just yet, it is now clear in my mind that my suspicions were correct, that the Greeks are in fact responsible for this gigantic oil spill. We seem to be holding a smoking gun. However, museum officials will not allow us to remove the painting from the museum. So, in order to confirm our suspicions, I sat down with archaeological expert Dr. Ilanzo Perducci. Dr. Perducci, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, have you seen the paintings that we discovered?
Yes, I have seen them. And now that I've had the opportunity to examine them in greater detail, it is clearly fascinating how much it corresponds to the current situation.
It is a smoking gun that these are the people responsible, is it not? Would you say it is a smoking gun?
Well, I don't know if I'd say that. It does look like a warning from the Greek god of water, Poseidon, warning people never to build in his domain.
So the ancient Greeks vowed to destroy this rig in the name of their god?
Well, no, it's a warning.
I can see no other explanation.
Well, no, it's not the Greeks warning that they will destroy it. It is their god, Poseidon, will destroy it if it is ever built.
Which would lead them into setting up some kind of system to destroy anything ever built at sea.
Well,
Because we all know Poseidon is not real.
well, maybe not, but to the ancient Greeks he was very real.
So what do you make of the inscriptions on top?
It appears to indicate a massive explosion, but
Now, how could the ancient Greeks know of a massive offshore explosion thousands of years in advance if they were not the ones to cause it? Eh?
I believe this was a prediction, but not one that they necessarily knew to be accurate.
But as we both know, it has come to be accurate. With the agreement of Dr. Portucci, we now had only one more question to answer. How could the ancient Greeks have caused this massive explosion millennia in advance? For the answer, we journeyed down to the beaches on the Gulf near Lake Chappeau, Louisiana. Inscriptions on the painting have led us to this beach, where we hope to find how exactly the Greeks caused the explosion in the Gulf. After excavating the beach for a few hours, we failed to discover any machinery capable of causing an explosion thousands of miles away. However, when we later tested samples of the sand in our chemical laboratory, our answer was revealed.
We found traces of vanadinite in the samples, which is a kind of chemical explosive which explodes only when it comes in contact with a certain other compound known as PBN, which is used to coat the foundation of modern deep-sea oil rigs. The compound is virtually undetectable in water, but when we got in the sand, it was pretty easy to find.
But where would the Greeks have obtained such a rare chemical? We ventured to a cavern near the Santorini volcano in Greece to find the answer.
Vanadinite is reactive when found in high concentrations. Now, this cave proves to be a gold mine for high concentrations of vanadinite. It could have been used as a bomb thousands of years ago by the Greeks.
Our search is a tremendous success. The cave is teeming with vanadinite, more than enough to cause the explosion of the oil rig.
This deposit over here could be up to 3 tons. If the Greeks had this much lying around in their basement, they could have constructed an explosive.
The vanadinite was placed in the ocean by the ancient Greeks and remained dormant there for thousands of years, until the BP oil rig came along and reacted to the chemical with violent results. And now, we are at our journey's end. We have identified the who, uncovered the how, and the why. And we have discovered the true culprits of the greatest natural disaster of our time is in fact the ancient Greeks. Few may have guessed at the true cause behind these recent events, but that is what Mysteries History is all about, adventuring into the unknown and emerging with the truth. I am Dr. Ismail Apikores. Join me next time as I investigate the cause of the mysterious epidemic sweeping the nation, here on Mysteries History HD, Beaver Fever.